Platforms: YouTube UTV 124, Facebook UTV 124, Instagram UTV 124, Twitch UTV 124, TikTok UTV_124, and Flow TV channel 124. Remember, UTV TV for you.
I can't
Good morning. Welcome to the show. It is Thursday, September 9th, 2021. It's good to be here with you. Are you looking like one of the air hostess? You know, I'm working on a plane sort of thing. That's the vibe I feel like giving. I think that's about the only aisle I want to walk down right now. It's on a plane, going somewhere, doing something. That COVID thing is a tie-up. Anyway, good morning to all of you joining us. If you are listening to us on our radio station partner, that is Hits FM, 92.1 and 91.1 FM. Always a great pleasure if you are driving, if you're home, listening to us on radio. Thank you very much. Also, if you are watching on television on channel 124, we appreciate that too. Thank you very much. And of course, if you are on the Roro social media platforms, namely Facebook and all the others like Twitter and Twitch and Instagram and Napot, then good morning to you too. Today, I think it would be remiss of me for us not to have, you know, a look at what is going on with St. Jude's. And today marks 12 years since that fire, and every time, you know, that date comes around, people feel different things, and I think you always remember where you were when it happened. And for people in the South as well, I think it's particularly difficult to remember that. And we've seen all of it, this issue being used as a political football, people using it for their own agendas. But for me, on that date, personally, I think that that is the closest, and I never want to go through that again, that sort of feeling. My father, being a fireman, he had to work on that fire, and, you know, he almost lost his life. And every time I think of that, and I think of, you know, that monstrosity that we have there, it's not just politics. It's not, you know, something to be used and people use it to get material. People, you know, all yoga volley, plywood, Nepot bagay, they're trying to take even before the last elections there. St. Jude's means different things to different people. And for the, say, volley, they see it as something where you can make money, that you can take people's donations. And I remember too, a lot of friends of mine too, and around the country, you're in school, in secondary school, and you have to give $1, you know, every year for the past for the 5 years in secondary school. Primary school students, infant school students, people came together. International communities also did. And it was just a time where I thought, even then, that it would have been a time for unity. And instead, it's not that at all. So I want to begin by looking at a report showing my father, and we've spoken about it before. We talk about it in the living room, and, you know, just as a family, and what he felt and what he thought. And he was trying to untie a man that was tied to a bed, and he did do it, but, you know, he got some burns on his hand and everything, and you know, he barely made it out. But it was sad that the person didn't make it. But I think, you know, let's start there.
It's been 10 years since the St. Jude's fire, and for many, it's a tragedy that cannot be forgotten. Peterson Mathre, a firefighter from the town of Beaufort, was one of the brave firefighters who responded to the emergency call that would change many lives. His service to his community when it was needed most earned him the St. Lucia Medal of Honor for bravery in hazardous circumstances. I sat down with Mathre, who recounted a memory which he says will always remain engraved in his mind.
It was a total inferno, you know. But my vivid memory of that fire was, to see a man riffing on his bed, tied to the bedpost. He was surrounded in flames, and intense heat on that night because they had oxygen tanks. And it's a hard thing to relive it. I seldom try to relive it because, and I saw death in my eyes, I saw the children flash in my eyes. It was the aluminum just like this, and it was difficult because it was locked and I couldn't see, so it was difficult to get through. That is when I felt real fear. That is why I saw death flashing in my eyes, and that is still one of my most memorable. When I say memorable, but it always comes to bear as a remembrance, especially when it's the anniversary day.
I asked Mathre how he feels about the current situation at St. Jude's a decade after he and many others risked their lives to save the hospital and its patients.
It's heartbreaking. I was born at St. Jude Hospital, so I know the history of St. Jude Hospital. And the alternative is also, absurd. You cannot have an alternative hospital. To me, by now, 10 years ago, from now, the hospital should have been in operational use and not construction use, not construction phase. Be it operational, be it structural, it's just not conducive for the hospital.
In September 2009, Joseph Jean-Baptiste was receiving treatment for a hip injury at the St. Jude's Hospital. He never returned home, having lost his life in the tragic fire which ravaged the medical facility. 10 years later, his family is still deeply affected by that loss.
I lost my father there, and that was the breadwinner. It is over 10 years they haven't consulted my mother and didn't give my mother nothing up to now, not even towards the burial. Yeah, and to see is me not have my mother on me there. Give her all what she need. Should have given my mother something to live on until she died.
Jean-Baptiste, like countless other individuals from the South, are deeply dissatisfied with the stalled reconstruction process.
We need a hospital. Yeah, we need a hospital, man. People scared to go and take treatment. Must give us a hospital. We need a hospital. If a hurricane hit us, we don't have a hospital. People scared to go to the hospital there. It is not good. Healthcare is not good there at all.
That fire also resulted in the deaths of two other individuals, Myrnas Vigier and Claudia Soudine, both from Vieux Fort North. For Choice News Now, Amani Mathre reporting.
Again, when I look at that, besides, seeing my father's nose that he gave me, I just wanted to say I'm really proud of him, proud of you, Dada. And that's another thing, I call my father Dada and I hate it, not Dad. Everybody says Dad, I call him Dada, and I just kind of get over it. But, you look at these things and you're just thankful for life. And of course, my condolences goes out again to Auntie Afe, another relative, her husband died in that blaze. So yeah, we need to have these conversations, and for some it might be repetitive, but we're in a country where we're seeing, after 12 years that we cannot complete a hospital and $200 million spent, that we can't see that. So we're again going to look at the promises that were made. People used it thinking that they would win an election with it, and I remember we played it so much I didn't think it was necessary. Michael Chastney saying let's have a soft opening and just try to vaguely people. We've had that conversation before, and even as we intend to investigate and make sure that justice is seen for all of what we cannot account for, we need to move forward. But we can't move forward unless we take a look back, and to do that, we have to look at the promises made by the former Prime Minister.
11 years after the St. Jude's Hospital was destroyed by a massive fire, the promise of a new hospital sold to St. Lucians by successive administrations still remains a dream deferred. In the last decade, the multi-million-dollar project has seen numerous estimated cost evaluations, countless start dates, and a series of projected completion dates. The project has spanned 3 different administrations: the Stephenson King administration at the time of the fire, the Kenny Anthony administration, which took office 2 years later in 2011, and the current Alan Chastney administration, which subsequently came into power in 2016. Over the years, the failure to complete the hospital has been used as a political football, with both parties pointing the finger at each other. With an election looming on the horizon, many have suggested that St. Jude's may once again be dangled before the electorate like a carrot. But when can the people of the South expect to finally have the promise of a new hospital fulfilled? According to a July 3rd update from the Prime Minister's official Facebook page, work on the structural frame was about 90% complete at that time, and preparations were being made for the architectural and mechanical, electrical and plumbing phases. Prime Minister Alan Chastney was probed on the subject of the hospital's completion during an interview which was aired on August 31st of this year.
What is the update on St. Jude, and will it be open before you ring that bell?
I'd like to think it would be. It's making tremendous progress.
This is going to be a deciding factor in this election. Healthcare is one of our biggest gripes. You came in, yeah? 4 years later, you cannot give us a date. You cannot tell us definitively that in your term in office, this will be done.
Well, I can say to you that everything as I speak now is streamlined to achieve that. I have no idea what's going to happen today or tomorrow. And sadly, COVID has been a stark reminder of how fast the world is changing. But right now, we are absolutely on stream to finish that hospital before we go into elections.
Chastney's Facebook post of July 3rd indicated that the St. Jude's Hospital is expected to be a 90-bed facility which will provide a range of inpatient and outpatient services. The post also notes that the project has a, quote, cumulative expenditure from October 2018 amounting to $50 million, end quote. The St. Jude's Hospital remains housed at the George Odlum Stadium in Vieux Fort. Over the years, staff at the facility have cited several infrastructural issues with the temporary location, including a number of occupational health and safety concerns. What was initially meant to serve as a temporary measure has spanned 11 years, a situation which has been described as shameful, a stain on the names of both political parties. For Choice News Now, Amani Mathre reporting.
Kappa. You see the slabs and you see the columns holding up the slabs, and all they did there, they came on the sides and they put claddings along the sides. No walls, nothing. They just put claddings along the sides to give it the appearance that you have the outside of a state-of-the-art hospital, and all people like Lincoln Pascal were bragging about that. All you have in there, folks, is exactly what you see there, except all the cladding has been placed on the outside, and there are some metal strips on the inside to hold up for the sheetrock to be screwed upon. There are no internal walls, no plumbing, no conduits for water, no conduits for electricity, nothing for air conditioning, nothing at all but a glorified car park. Let me show you some pictures of what I saw on the inside of that monstrosity. Could you show it? Right. This is all we have here, folks. Just those panels, those strips to screw drywall upon. What you see in the back, this is all it is. And you have cladding blocking the outside. That look a glorified car park with those metal strips. Look now, that hair looks like, hold on that one for me. That one looks like one of the car parks in the Baywalk. In the Baywalk Mall. That looked like one of the parking lots in the Baywalk Mall. That is what I saw. That is what we saw there yesterday. That is the hospital that Lincoln Pascal and others are telling you this is a modern hospital that we'll be getting. Where is it? Where is it? Where has the solution $100 million gone to? All we see there are slabs and columns and cladding blocking the exterior. Look at this. There is nothing in there. Nothing. A glorified car park. You know. Glorified car park. Look at this. You hold that one there. Look. You're telling me that is the state-of-the-art hospital that United Park had on their Facebook page that they are going to deliver? That is the state-of-the-art hospital for over $100 million. You know, that is a travesty. It really is. You can take it down now. Nothing of substance. So like I said, folks, I will soon take a break. Like I said, no electricals, no conduits or wires, no water, no plumbing, no air conditioning, nothing, no internal walls, no exterior walls, nothing at all. $100 million. And you know what hurt me? Norman Senville was with us. I asked Norman Senville, what would it take? What would it take to complete what that monstrosity? Folks, you all will not believe this. Norman Senville told me in the presence and hearing of loads of other people that it would take $38 million to finish only the ground floor. It would need $38 million to finish only the ground floor of this monstrosity. Just the ground floor, another $38 million. So we spent $100 million on this car park, and we need another $38 million to finish the ground floor alone. And guess what he went on to inform the group? That Chasney and Company had already awarded that contract for the $38 million just to finish the ground floor. Are you all hearing me? Nous j'ai dépensé $100 million pour car park ça là. Et yo ka di yo pris $28 million, $38 million, not to complete the whole thing, you know, to complete the ground floor. And he went on to tell us that Chasney and them had already awarded that contract. Meanwhile, Renault has gone to Dominica and built a whole 60-bed hospital for $32 million. He built a whole hospital for $32 million, a 60-bed. We spent $100 million on that already. Foundation that was supposed to cost $3 cost $9. And we need $38 million to finish the ground floor. Now, folks, tell me whether, I don't care whether you support Labour or Flabo, but that is, you cannot support that kind of financial recklessness. Isn't that a wastage of our money? Don't you see corruption written all over this? Somebody has to pay for that. Somebody has to pay. Somebody has to go to jail. This has corruption written all over it. And I can assure you some of that money is hidden somewhere in some foreign bank account. I can also say that Cabinet never invited their own engineers and stuff. Cabinet wanted to talk just to see for themselves. And of course, Cabinet has already, they didn't want to prejudice anybody's mind. But a team has been put together by the Cabinet of Ministers, and that team will be doing some kind of assessment and will be advising Cabinet as to the way forward. What I can tell you is the Prime Minister and the Cabinet of Ministers are very, very hasty about getting people out of the stadium and bringing them to St. Jude. Something is going to happen in the quickest possible time. But my view is, folks, rather than waste $138 million on this monstrosity, you went in, you saw the first hospital, you believe that there are some compromises in terms of integrity, spend a $3-4 million, get it done, move on, complete that hospital. We don't have, our only revenue source is taxation. We don't have minerals, we don't have oil, we don't have gold, we don't have any of that sort. Yet, Shastney, Guy Joseph and others would justify the wastage of $138 million on a glorified car park. So this country has spent about $238 million, and up to now we don't have a hospital. I don't care if you support Flabo. I don't care if you support Labour. I don't care if you love Shastney. I don't care if you hate Philip J. Pierre. You may love me, like me, dislike me. But if you, as a St. Lucian, condone that kind of travesty, then you are not a patriotic St. Lucian.
And I agree completely, because when you hear all of what is going on, and we've seen the pictures and we've had the discussions before, but when the date is there, you can go back 12 years to, you know, what it looked like, what it felt like, and to know that you've spent over $200 million and they have nothing to show for it. If anything, people try to take, still after an election when they lost and just before, people were taking material at St. Jude's and putting it in cars. The cars can't even well move, it's so heavy, and I don't know where it's gone, but people were taking it and bringing it to wherever they're bringing it. So even that, in every single way, there are St. Lucians that claim they're St. Lucians that have been stealing from the country. And like I said, we want to see justice for all of that, and we haven't yet heard anything. The former Prime Minister is in hiding or whatever he's doing, having a good time on vacation with the money that he already had and the money that he's made. And Guy Joseph and everybody else, they're quiet, they're sitting down, they're hoping and praying that we will forget. Ou kay oublié? Es nou kay oublié? Es SLP kay oublié sa ki fet la? Pour tout l'argent ki a volé la. I believe, and that's why it's necessary to replay these things. And it's also, you know, sometimes maybe you'll forget there are other things happening, you know. And in my mind, and somebody told me that the people that in Bordelais for weed, you know, put them out and make space for the politicians, make space for them. And I agree. I completely agree with that. And when you think of politicians that have to answer a lot of questions, they're not here. The last time we saw Guy Joseph, he was doing this.
What is it? We have 7 gears.
No, that's in the garage. Cutie, put some milk in them.
It have. It's just not adjusted yet. Polish it towards the BMX. Son, I think we should play some airsoft right now. You want it?
And when you look at all of what's going on, there are, you know, millions of dollars that we cannot account for, people that made promises and they are not there. You have a former Prime Minister who will not respect the people that voted for him in Miku South, and for the 37,000 people he's saying that voted for him. And then you have Guy Joseph, as you've seen, you know, living his best life, doing what he's doing. And then people now, we have to deal with the system. We are currently in this pandemic. So many people are dying and all that, and we still do not have a hospital. But when we're looking at the past, I want to look at the present. What does this current Prime Minister, what has he seen? What's the next step? I know that there's already been a commission, a group of people, experts who are going to look at the what's going to be the next couple of steps forward. So, with all of that being said, when can we potentially see the completion of the St. Jude's Hospital?
Members of the press will soon have the opportunity to visit the St. Jude Hospital reconstruction site to share the current status of works with the general public. That's according to Prime Minister Philip J. Pierre during a thank you message to the nation this past Sunday. Pierre and his cabinet of ministers, including Infrastructure Minister Stephenson King, recently toured the facility nearly 12 years to the day that the hospital was scorched. According to Pierre, that tour was rather revealing.
It hurt me. It hurt me because I saw all what you were being told about St. Jude was not true. You were told that St. Jude is months away from completion. As time goes, I will ask the press to visit St. Jude to tell the people what I saw and what members of my cabinet saw. St. Jude is nowhere near completion. St. Jude is years away from completion. And when the last government told you that St. Jude's was months away, they were speaking a deliberate untruth and they were trying to fool you.
In their 2021 manifesto, the St. Lucia Labour Party promised to complete the St. Jude Hospital in the shortest time possible. For 12 years, doctors and nurses have been caring for patients in what was once the island's premier sporting facility, a structure in much need of renovation itself. So what happens now?
I have appointed a committee of professionals to look into this situation as to how we will resolve the St. Jude situation. That committee comprises of professionals. That committee will report to the cabinet on the options that are available for St. Jude. And because of what I saw on Wednesday, I have to add another option. The option is whether it's possible for us to do some temporary renovations on the stadium so that the patients, doctors, nurses and staff can be more comfortable.
The St. Jude Hospital was destroyed by a major blaze on September 9, 2009. At the time, the island was being led by Stephenson King, who held the prime ministerial reins. Since then, the country has changed over administrative hands 3 times, and construction has started and stopped countless times. The reconstruction project has been the subject of at least one previous review, and construction on an entirely new set of buildings was commissioned under the last administration. It is unclear now how soon St. Lucians in the south of the island will be able to access quality healthcare at a proper facility. For Choice News Now, Nelsia Charlemagne reporting.
So this is where we are. Still some uncertainty as to when it's going to be completed, but hearing from the Prime Minister, PM Pierre, he clearly, you heard yourself that it'll take years before this is done. But you know, when you look back at the people who are posting Facebook, because you know them, the Prime Minister himself speaking with Dale Elliott there and saying, you know, they'll be done before elections. When you look at these things, it really is an insult to our intelligence. It would have really shown us who we are as a people if we had put them people back there. So this is where we are, still uncertain as to what's going to happen. We have the experts looking at what's going to happen next. So since it's still uncertain, I wanted to go yet again in the past and look at what happened when people were frustrated, when people felt they needed to come out in the streets against the last administration that made all of these promises. And no, I don't think it is fair to say that it's the United Workers' Party. I think successive administrations, we've seen different prime ministers that have made mistakes, some far worse than others. Some people, will try to put it all together, but it's not the same. I think you have more accountability under the St. Lucia Labour Party if you're going to look at what they're saying, that you have continued building on the east wing of the hospital, and instead things were demolished and an audit had to be made, things that we still don't even know what came out of it. So I think that looking back at the 2018 March, when people were already so frustrated, COVID didn't know when it would even have a name, and already then we were going through a crisis. So I believe that right now, us, me on the show, you calling, you sitting home, people in the South in particular, we need to make sure we keep this administration accountable as well, making sure that, yes, we know it's difficult. I imagine it must be difficult. After people already spend all what they're doing, Timothy Mangal, all kind of things, there's no paperwork, no accountability. The St. Lucia Labour Party will have a difficult time with the St. Jude's Hospital and having it completed. But in that same way, as a citizen, I don't want to hear nothing again. I ain't lying to tell you, Papa, I do not want to hear any more excuses. We want it done. And in that regard, I just want us to remember ourselves, remember the politicians when they were in opposition during that march. And I think for the first time in a long time, seeing people united in that one cause in healthcare, you know, I think that's different. Right now, I don't know, right now things are so political. You'll get people making a political issue with everything. But on that day, in 2018, in September, where thousands of people took to the streets for healthcare, I was proud then to be a St. Lucian.
The corruption.
Mic check, 1 2 1 2.
Like it belongs to Alan Chastney and Guy. We are saying no. We are saying no to dolphins in captivity. As what we have said, we don't say no to that already.
Good afternoon, viewers. This is Janika Simon. I am reporting this afternoon with Choice TV, and we are here in Larissus Viewfort this afternoon, providing live coverage of the St. Lucia Labour Party organized protest march against any demolition or repurposing of the St. Jude's Hospital. Now, as you know, the St. Jude's Hospital suffered a fire in 2009, and the reconstruction process proceeded along until shortly after the 2016 elections, when work stopped. Work has since been stopped since then, and the Labour Party, as well as a coalition of concerned citizens, have joined together to ask the government to recommence construction, not to demolish the hospital, and not to have any alternative use. So let's walk a little bit closer, and we are going to look at the crowd that's gathered here this afternoon. From my earlier estimates, it looks like the crowd size is significantly smaller than the previous Labour Party protest march in March of this year. However, there are still quite a number of people on the ground here today with their placards in hand, seemingly quite energized and ready to march on behalf of St. Jude's. Of note this afternoon is the significant number of people actually wearing St. Lucian Pride t-shirts. Now, if you remember, St. Lucian Pride is a movement started and spearheaded by talk show host Christopher Hunt, as well as Richard Frederick. There are quite a number of people wearing black and white t-shirts emblazoned with the St. Lucian Pride logo. So let's take a look at the crowd and let's get a little bit closer.
Yeah. I think by our numbers here, they have tried everything.
So you can no longer see me, but you can definitely see the crowd assembling. The truck is getting into position, and the Labour Party hierarchy has actually taken their place in the front of the march, getting ready to lead us from the Larissus playing field opposite Campus B all the way up to the St. Jude's reconstruction site. Let's see if we can get a quick interview before we begin. Some maybe brief remarks. I see the political leader, Mr. Philip J. Pierre. I see the former Minister of Health, Alvina Reynolds. And let me see if they have anything to say. Mr. Pierre, hi, good afternoon.
How are you? Good afternoon.
All right, we are live on Choice as we begin the march. Do you have any comments as we get started?
Well, you've seen the numbers here this afternoon, and we've just started. You've seen the weather. The weather hasn't been good. We just started. I'm very satisfied, very happy. We're going to have many more people to send a message to the government that we want the hospital open. We really need St. Jude open because the state of the St. George or the George Odom Stadium it's a disaster waiting to happen. It's because of the nurses and the doctors who work very hard. This is why it hasn't been a disaster there. So we hope that the government listens to the will of the people. The people are speaking. It's the second time we're having a demonstration. If the government does not listen, we will have more and more demonstrations because the government must listen to the will of the people. We need the hospital open.
So how do you respond to comments or criticisms that the previous administration was not able to complete the hospital, and so it's a bit hypocritical for you to be marching here today?
The previous administration continued work in the hospital. We never stopped. This government has stopped working in the hospital for 17 months. We've never stopped. We continued working, and if the government had continued working, the hospital would have been finished by now.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Pierre. Here you have it with some remarks from Philip J. Pierre, the political leader, as the march gets underway. Now we're going to try to dive into the crowd and get some reaction or comments from the regular person on the street. So let's see what we can find. All right. Here you see Mr. Sean Edwards marching. Sir, you have your Labour Family t-shirt on. Tell me how you feel today.
Well, today I think I'm marching for a cause. I'm here as part of the Labour Party's efforts to rally support for Southerners. As you know, the hospital was burned down so many years ago, and to date we've not been able to have one replace what existed. So today's protest march is really to send a message to the government that the hospital needs to be reinstated so that the people of the South can have proper health care.
Now you represent a community in Dennery. Do you think that your constituents, do they utilize the St. Jude's Hospital, or would they go to Castries?
Well, it is kind of... Well, it is split in the middle, as we would say. But a lot of persons from Dennery North actually come to the south to seek medical attention. As we speak, there are constituents of mine who are at the stadium receiving medical care. And it's not just a situation where one is supposed to be marching for a facility because the facility impacts or doesn't have an impact on their immediate constituency. Healthcare is something that we all ought to take very seriously, and irrespective of where people are from, I think they ought to lend in this effort to send a message to the government that the St. Jude's Hospital needs to be reinstated so that the people of the South in particular can get the sort of care that they rightly deserve as tax-paying citizens of our country.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Edwards. There you have it, comments from Mr. Sean Edwards, and we're diving even deeper into the crowd, and let's see who we can...
So people are saying, oh, Labour Party did not finish the hospital, and therefore they should say nothing. Did Labour Party ever stop the works? Did Stephenson King stop the works? But Alan Chasney stopped the works. And you're telling us, do not march, do not say anything, because we did not finish it. I am saying to you, it takes more than 5 years to finish a hospital. And more so when you have no money there. Kenny Anthony never gave up. Alvina Reynolds never gave up. Musa never gave up. Alva never gave up. The works continued. But instead, UWP came in and stopped the works. And you're telling us do not match? I'll tell you something. Alan Chasney promised that he would match. He said so. Mary Isaac said she would match. Nancy Charles was crying about dialysis machines. Have they opened the dialysis machine room? Has Alan Chasney finished St. Jude's? Has he opened Owen King? So Alan Chasney want to see match? We just start matching. We just start matching. Now I'll tell you something. I went for a whole campaign. I never said anything about Mary Isaac. I came to the people, I said what I wanted to do, and I said to them, give me a chance. Never said anything about Mary Isaac. But come January next year, if Mary Isaac does not do what the right thing and ensure the work start back at St. Jude and open Owen King, is now I will start talking about Mary Isaac. If you think I ever worked hard before, it's now I will start working hard, because this is wicked. This is inhumane. You cannot tell me the people of the South are suffering. They are the victims of what you're doing. And for 18 months you stop the work? 18 months? And you even threaten to demolish? And hear what Guy's saying. Demolish does not say breaking down everything. The bottom is bad and the top is good. Monsieur Tiye bottom na kisaki Guy fait. Kisaki Guy fait. Kisaki Guy fait. I'll tell you what, that's wickedness. That's in you.
can't stay.
Thanks for tuning in to your favorite content creator, UTV. To find out more, follow us on our social media platforms: YouTube UTV124, Facebook UTV124, Instagram UTV124, Twitch UTV124, TikTok UTV_124, and Flow TV channel 124. Remember, UTV, TV for you.
We can win this war. Get vaccinated. We're taking our life back. Get vaccinated.
My health and strength is my profession. It is the top priority to me and my family. By taking the COVID-19 vaccine, I can protect those who are vulnerable in my family and also my clients. To all the health-conscious persons and the athletes, I would like to say, COVID-19 has no friends, and we healthy persons can be affected as well. And worse yet, we can pass it on to those amongst us who are vulnerable. I'm looking forward to having a full class again and not having to choose which clients can come to work out today and tomorrow. I'm looking forward to our fitness family getting back together.
Get vaccinated.
This message is brought to you by the Bureau of Health Education of the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
You're watching UTV, TV for you.
Expo 2020 Dubai is poised to showcase the island's accommodating landscape for tourism, investment and trade to the millions of visitors anticipated to attend the World Expo starting on October 1st, 2021. The St. Lucia Pavilion in Dubai will seek to showcase world-class St. Lucia products with the objective of generating sales that is expected to bring thousands of dollars of much-needed financial relief to local manufacturers who have been suffering under the weight of COVID-19. Local authorities say there are numerous business opportunities there for the taking, as local government agencies are putting together a robust calendar of activities to tap into these high-end international markets.
The Expo will also have 3 sub-themes: opportunity, mobility, and sustainability, under which St. Lucia is in the pavilion of opportunity. Preparation has been a monumental task, and a formidable team from the ministries and statutory agencies represented here today have worked tirelessly to express through our creatives, manufacturers and business community the excellence that is St. Lucia. Expo Dubai 2020 will afford St. Lucia great visibility and opportunity.
St. Lucia's theme will be creating opportunities to inspire the world. Let her inspire you. The venture costs somewhere between $5 and $6 million, out of which the St. Lucian government will be contributing $1.5 million, with the rest being financed by Dubai. Despite COVID, 20 million visitors are expected to converge on Dubai to participate in the venture.
It tells us that there are so many opportunities for us to be able to showcase the world and for us to inspire the world. And upon becoming minister, together with my colleague minister, Ms. Danielle, we started meeting. We've had quite a few meetings over the last 2 weeks or so discussing St. Lucia's participation in Expo Dubai. Why? For us, this is not a line. We're not going to Dubai to line. We're going to Dubai to work. And we're going to work with a smile and a charm that shows off the best of St. Lucia.
So far, $89,000 worth of local products have already been shipped to Dubai. Some local manufacturers will be traveling to Dubai at their own expense. But what is important from the Ministry of Commerce's standpoint is that manufacturers are able to meet the demands once overseas orders for products and services start coming in.
Concerning the manufacturing sector, I think one area we need to focus on, they are getting the exposure at the expo. But our work that we have to do is to ensure that they are able to continue delivering that product when they get an order up there. I think more than anything else, that is the work we have to do on the ground here. We are happy that they have reached the right standards, and that is where our Bureau of Standard comes in. All of that falls under the Ministry of Commerce and what we're doing. The work of Exports and Tresha is to ensure that they get a market. But we also have work to do in the ministry to work with the persons who are participating to ensure that when we get this order, that we already have a process to deliver. We know, for example, Barron's is world class, it is in most of the cities. But some of the other people participating, our work immediately is to see that they are in a position to deliver and keep the market when they get it. That's important.
Expo 2020 Dubai will end on March 31st, 2022. For the DBS News World, I'm Don Nicholas.
So you'd ask yourself, why are we talking about this expo in Dubai? And it is because it has now become an issue for some of the United Workers' Party supporters, some people who think, this shouldn't be happening. So let's take a look since the news has come out that solutions are going to go to Dubai for this expo. Let's take a look at some of the images being posted on the different social media platforms. I think that is really interesting because you get in some of the hacks saying, how did the Dubai trip increase by $1 million US? We claim that the treasury was empty, but we found 1.5 million US to go to Dubai, putting us first. Let's go to the next one. Of course, I don't know what Minerva and Ernest have. So Minerva once again with Ernest Hilaire, the expensive trips to Dubai have already begun. It is costing St. Lucia US $1.5 million to attend Expo Dubai in October, yet the treasury is empty. Friends, family and cliques are those who will be going as part of the delegation, putting themselves first. Let's look at the next one as well, and you're seeing images of them calling it FFC, friends, family and cliques. It doesn't have the same ring to what actually happens with the FFF, but you can see you guys. So what's his name again? What's the consultant name from Barbados? You'll gotta call him again for some of the some ideas as op-ed. So they're trying to remix FFF into FFC. So these are the things that the United Workers' Party that they're doing since that was brought to our attention. And of course you're seeing that it's a coordinated effort. You're seeing Minerva Ward has it, the other some of the fake profiles. I saw Fortuna Bell Rose also posting it. People now are saying $1.5 million, how could that be going to the to this expo in Dubai? And to be quite honest, I too believe that's too much to be going in the middle of COVID to Dubai to be doing this. And I think it really does say something. It says something to me, the United Workers' Party. They're trying to make their way and do something, and I think they figure that the SLP worked by making things up and being angry about certain things. But that's not the way it works, Papa Minerva. That's not the way it works. And they're just sending out things and hoping that it will stick. And the people that looking for any kind of hope that, maybe I'd left and just stick on that. It's pathetic, but to some it might just work. So, what is the actual truth here? Is it that Ernest Hilaire decides, within a month of him being minister, so let's just go for a joyride, let's just go on Lime in Dubai? Is that what you think, and use the $1.5 million to do it? That's not what's happening there. Let me show you what's happening. Let's put up the next image so people understand what is going on. This was done under the United Workers' Party administration once again. A mess, and then people now they're looking for all kind of ways to blame. June 11th, we remember elections were July 26th. It says here the Export St. Lucia has been commissioned as the executing agency in collaboration with the Office of the Prime Minister for Expo Dubai 2021, set to take place in October 2021. The full concept, inclusive of all budgetary commitments for the participation of the Tourism Authority and the executing agency, amounts to US $537,485. Reference your correspondence dated October 23rd, 2020. Please be advised that a portion amounting to $537,000 of the excess cash, they have excess cash from the Citizenship by Investment Unit, should be remitted to Export St. Lucia to facilitate our participation in Expo, and thereafter all excess be remitted to the Accountant General's Department. Export St. Lucia will provide the necessary bank details to facilitate same. Let's go down so we see what's going on there. That is signed by Alan Chasney, the then Prime Minister and Minister for Finance, Economic Growth, Job Creation, External Affairs and the Public Service. Somebody has to do it. Somebody has to do it. This is getting ridiculous. So once again, people are coming out in this full outrage. Minerva Panebu Fepa say Facebook like by moon. Ernest, I think maybe you should go and check Minerva. I don't know what you're trying to tell you, but go and check that. And all of this is happening, and it happened under the former administration. So now when you talk about 1.5 million, wouldn't it have been the same under Chasney? So if you're coming now as a minister, things are already signed. I still think that's way too much, to be quite honest with you. You know, and now you have to deal with that. But it also speaks to another issue here. Are we going to continually be bombarded and surprised at the United Workers' Party in all of their desperation, looking for lies, and will say anything and hoping that it sticks, you know, and then the present government always now on, you know, being defensive and having to defend themselves against things that were there before them. I think more than just how pathetic it looks on the side of the United Workers' Party and people like Minerva and all of the others, it does show a lack of strategy on the part of this administration. It should not be something where people, you know, now they're calling out 1.5. You almost have to expect it. And the PR is supposed to be better than that. It's supposed to be better than that. I don't think two ministers need to go there either. And when you talk about CIP funds, CIP funds coming to $1 million to go to Dubai to do that. Wouldn't it have been better to, you know, put it in the creative industries, help, you know, cultural development and progression instead of going and do that? So for me, that's where I am. I don't know how you feel about it, but this, I expect to see more of a strategy, not just from the government of St. Lucia as being, you know, state, but also the party, the St. Lucia Labour Party, cannot sustain always having to respond, always having to, you know, respond to things, and clearly lies and the hypocrisy of these people. But you need to take control of the narrative, and to do that, you need a strategy to do that. We'll take your calls at 572-7588. We could talk about anything that you want. Anything that I've spoken about so far in the show. But, you know, these people will pretend that they don't know that this happens every year. Nancy Charles about as Director of Implementation. What do you need Director of Implementation for Expo for? So they're going there, and even now I'm hearing Agnes Francis threatening to sue because she cannot go to Dubai. Agnes Francis will at Dubai, and because there's a new administration now and she cannot go, she wants to sue. She feels she needs to be there. As what? I don't know. And then you figure, why the need? Why you want to go to Dubai so much? What do you have there? Oh, no. Her daughter is there. Her daughter is a lawyer in Dubai. So what better way than to continue with this modus operandi of taking the state funds and going on a lime and going on a joyride? And of course, Agnes Francis wants to, you know, continue to do that. So as there are new people, a new administration, This is mad. There's a madness. I don't know if the entitlement has gone to your head, Agnes Francis, and you were making $40,000. I said, la, a new time has come, okay? Let's take the call. Good. Good afternoon.
Tresha.
Yes?
Good afternoon. This is Frank here.
Hi, sir. How are you?
I'm good. And I like to identify myself.
Always.
And I did it in opposition and I'll do it in government again. The Labour Party administration has formed the government for over a month now. And I remember the 2011 to the 2016 time. And we must not, and the ministers of government and the PR team of the government must not force the surrogates to defend issues. And for example...
Are you being forced to defend issues?
But, you see, if you fight for the cause, Tresha, right? And certain things like that. Let me go back to the Virgin Atlantic. That stayed out there for about a couple of weeks. Not until I dug into what transpired and I put 2 posts on my page and 1 on Slaps. And I called a particular person. I said, man, that thing, we have to deal with that. We cannot be on the defensive all the time. Here again, this expo. So that is what I'm saying. Things you have found there that will cause mayhem and controversy. I mean, these are things that's supposed to be trashed out. Tell the people that this man had already spent X amount and we have to go ahead with it. If we could back out, we'll back out. Now, you have to find you here, Trisha, have to come on the program and talk and try to defend that. I have to defend it over there. That one have to defend it over there. That one have to defend it over there. The PR of the government must take charge and to alleviate the pressures of defending the government on things that they are not accountable for, and based on the other government, the past government, and we are the ones that have to defend that. Why should the Labour Party government be defending that today? They should not be defending that. They were not part of it. That was supposed to be out there already. So what you have put in my head, so what happened? That's a click. That's a click. I'm warning the Labour Party. I am warning the Labour Party government, the brotherhood and the clique, if there is any, expose what's supposed to be exposed. Because the way that was crafted, if you don't know the truth, Tresha, you will believe it. Because the government just said there is no money. And you notice how that was crafted. And I'm so disappointed with my friend, good friend Jordan Allen. Jordan is a radio announcer, DJ, whatever. I mean, from yesterday, they have been circulating. Even with the facts, with Alan Shastney signature stating that yes, that thing was signed how many years ago. I even know the shipping company that shipped that thing months ago, months ago. That these things were shipped in Dubai already. The things are already shipped there. And for Jordan to be reposting that on his page, this fellas are dangerous, man. And there's a lot of people that put in. Same thing here in Josie yesterday. Trying to say, come on, feed the people with that kind of money. And I sure they knew Alan Shaston signed it. But if you had come, if you had point over, you don't have to defend that, my brother. I'm sorry, my sister. You don't have to defend that. And the Labour Party's PR, Monday Luis, and whoever that day, if you don't have enough, tell the boss you need somebody else with you. And take in front. And I'll tell you something, Trisha. I'm saying it openly. I am not pleased with the lateness of these press briefings. That is a bad sign. Tell us what is going on. If it's sabotage, tell us it's sabotage. Get rid of the person that is sabotaging. If there are technical appreciate this technical difficulty, but it doesn't look well for the government. On every occasion like that, people have to wait. Everything is late. Come on, do something about it, man, while it's early. I'm vexed. Have a good one, Trisha.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. Do you have another call? So, I think you have made a great point. If you find it difficult, if you support a party, always having to defend a party, but, you know, in that way. And Pueduva Avaduva Pue is putting it well. It's putting it really well, I think, for everything that's going on there. And you could say it's only a month and you know, they give them time, and that's true. But after a while, you know, the United Workers' Party, what I've seen of them when they were in government, you know, the United Workers' Party will lie. They will make up half-truths. They do not care about truths. Their supporters don't care. Even as I said that, they seen the letter, they seen the signature. You got when they will just continue to just send shit on the wall and just hoping it sticks. And on the other side, I do not think any government should just be waiting and always finding itself trying to defend itself against their own actions. Because if you look at this, a letter is signed by the Prime Minister, and they're right, it's about $1.3 million being spent to go there of CIP funds signed in June. You'll have the same people. It's sick. It's sick. And I believe it's unsustainable because this is just 1 week. Next, lot semen you're going a lot by. Semen apwesa you're going a lot by. There needs to be a strategy, and I'm just saying that to the government of St. Lucia, but also Minerva and the rest of the Sahants. They're not exhausted. They can't be exhausted. They want to come back. I don't know. They want their position. Port Minerva, the ambassador, but they feel that they have to work. Then they will continue to do what they believe works for them. And if you believe, United Workers' Party supporters, that y'all spend your money on Peter Wickham and y'all give how much to Cambridge Analytica, Zotrai, Volley, ballot box, y'all have done all of that and you still lost. So now you think maybe, let's see what the other party, let's see what the St. Lucia Labour Party was doing. So every week you come in with the fake outrage and make up a scandal that's not even there. You think that will work for you? So, let's take the other call. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Tresha.
How are you?
I'm okay. I would like to say that I agree with you that the government should take hold of the narrative. But I want to disagree with your last caller saying that we shouldn't be out there defending, etc. I think if we know something is wrong, we should stand up and say it is wrong, that we are being that people are being misinformed or disinformed, in the very same way that I think we should, of course, continue to hold accountable. Having said this on the Dubai issue, I want to make a note of a couple of things. I think what you have done this morning and what you have been doing all the time is very, very important. That is you keeping the record straight on St. Jude. Now, of course, there have been missteps along the way. But what I can't take is the approach of a plague on both houses, a plague on the Labour Party, a plague on the UWP. 3 administrations, or now we're going into 4, have all failed, did not give us the hospital. While that is a fact, what is very, very disconcerting is that while certain facts are being stated, certain facts by some people are being deliberately excluded. And that is the Stevenson King administration, the Kenny Anthony administration never stopped the hospital. The Alan Chasney administration stopped the hospital for almost 3 years. And hadn't it been so, then we would most probably have had a hospital by now. This is a very critical and salient fact that some people disingenuously omit. Now, I only want to make one other comment, and that is there was a statement made by the Prime Minister, Philip J. Pierre, saying that when they toured the facilities, including the stadium, that they felt that they might need to do something at the stadium in the meantime. And I was listening to a program yesterday where one of the callers seemed to get it as if, well, what Philip J. Pierre was saying is that, well, this is an alternative to what the government has committed itself to doing. And remember, Philip J. Pierre has committed the present government, to getting into St. Jude, completing St. Jude as quickly as possible. But I think he made it very clear that when he toured both facilities, he realized that the situation at the George Odlum Stadium was so dire that in order to ensure that both staff and patients were safe and got at least some acceptable form of service at the stadium, the idea that they would probably need to do something at the George Odlum Stadium in the meantime is important. But that does not run counter to the fact that he has committed himself to ensuring that something be done as far as the completing the hospital. Now, having said that, I just want to end by saying I believe that we should not only be, or the government rather, should not only be moving with alacrity and speed to deal with the St. Jude issue. They also need to give our people the let our people know, let our people see what they are doing. That is important. Seize the narrative. Don't allow the kind of nonsense by people like Minerva Ward and Paul Ward, whom I suspect are one and the same people anyway. Don't allow that to just continue and fester. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, caller. I appreciate your contribution. We've had a call on hold for a while. Thank you for your patience, caller. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Trisha. How are you?
I'm all right, sir. How are you?
I'm not too bad, holding on. Sorry to hear what happened to you.
Oh, thank you. I'm good. I'm okay, though.
So long you already have life, that's more important. Good.
All right, talk to me.
Now, let me tell you. You see, the same thing I've always been saying from time of immemorial. Our people of St. Lucia, the problem we are facing now, look, now you have to defend, try to defend, not to defend, this kind of thing. These things should not be taking place in St. Lucia. To be honest, it should not be taking place. You see, the problem I've always seen from time, I know myself as a St. Lucian, is that our people do not understand. It's the same thing as I mentioned some time back about governance. That's the problem I have with St. Lucian. They don't understand governance. They don't understand when a government is making progress for them. That's why we fall into that kind of trap we are in, that kind of problem we're facing there now. Because they do not understand governance, they don't understand politics, they don't understand nothing. But the only thing they understand is wickedness, selfishness. Not everybody, some, right? And all these kind of things they understand. When you find a party get in that situation they are in there now, you don't know where you're going to get money, where you're not going to get it. And there are certain things that's been happening where they find and they believe it is good for the country, they do it. No matter what, maybe they might change certain things within their strategy, etc., or whatever they found. But at the end of the day, when people coming out and talk crap, is this kind of people are not a true human being to really, and if they love their country and they are patriotic and social, to me, it's not even taking these people on.
You think so?
Just let them grab them off uselessly. Because people like that who don't have a mind, who don't have a conscience to see whatever they were supporting was so bad for the country. That's why we get ourselves into that situation we are in.
Caller, thank you very much. Thank you very much. I hate to cut you off, but we're coming to near the end of the show. I appreciate your contribution. But I also think that with what you said, if you just let people speak, just let them talk, they ain't making any sense. I think that is a recipe for disaster for the St. Lucia Labour Party. If you just let people speak and, nothing is entrenched in any truth, people just saying what they're saying, I think that is really, really, it won't be a good situation at all. And like Frank will say, and people know where his loyalties have been, he's been very open about that. So I do appreciate people who can say, even though you support, I hate the fact that no matter what happened, can you imagine being a champagne, like, thank you, Prime Minister, thank you, Alan Chastney, thank you, and kissing ass and doing all of that. Is this what we want? So I do believe it, even as a supporter of the St. Lucia Labour Party, you have to say when you can come better. And just because Frank mentioned it of Mondi Lewis, I think she is going to have a show. Let's put up that next image with Mondi Lewis's new show that she will be hosting. I think that's something people need to look out for if you do want more information, I guess, on what's going on with government. It says Beyond the Headlines with Mondi Lewis, and that starts on Mondays. Mondays at 6. So maybe it'll be a step in the right direction to, create the narrative and to be ahead of it. But, with these little things, you have to nip them in the bud as soon as you start to see them. And no, a month is not too soon to do that either. So for the expo and the $1.5 million that you have to take from CIP to do that, you're trying to get people to buy into your culture, take it with them with the passports and everything else. You're selling a bit of yourself to go and sell more of yourself at Dubai. And I think that money could have been used differently in a way that we could see the benefits of it if it was placed in the creative industries, placed for, progression of culture, something of the sort that we could see. And instead for some, like Agnes Francis, who do see that as a joyride, they do see it as, holding money, and you make 40 grand a month under former administration. Y'all want to take and take and take, and it does not end. So much to the point that you mad enough in your head to feel that you deserve to be on a plane with taxpayers' money, bringing you and see your daughter in Dubai, that you want to sue. Marcus of ball leaders, you, Sarah, all of y'all, the teacher, by fall. That is mad to me. If you're already doing what you're doing, like all of the others know that they do what they do. Try to stay quiet and be quiet and, hide yourself and hope nobody come for you. So this way. Anyway, we come to the end of the show. I want to thank all of you for watching. It has been an absolute pleasure as always. We will continue to have these discussions in the most honest way that we can. Just because you support something, and I hope that's a change that we will see around the country and in our people, let the hacks be the hacks. But even if you support, you want to see a betterment, you want to let the leaders know that they can do better, and you can put things out there and let them know how you feel. I think that they will listen. We've come to the end of the show. As I said, I will see you tomorrow, at 11. Until then, have a good one.
I can't stay.